But now, guys, moving on to the 2:30 kickoff game. It is, guys, is this the biggest group of 5 game ever in terms of impact when it comes to Cincinnati going to Notre Dame? And I say that because you look at the Bearcats, guys, and they have a legitimate shot to be highly favored in the rest of their games. They take care of business here in South Bend. You have 2 undefeated teams coming into this one. Josh, what's your take on Desmond Ridder and the crew coming in to take on Brian Kelly's Fighting Irish?
You kind of hope Cincinnati does win just because I don't see Notre Dame getting through their gauntlet of a schedule undefeated. So, like, if you want a group of 5 to get to the playoffs, you're hoping Cincinnati because they can put this win on their resume. But betting-wise, I've been so back and forth on this game. I see a lot of similarities. I see both teams have just a defensive stud. But for some reason, Notre Dame loves playing to their opponents, whether it's good or bad. Like, you see them struggle against Florida State, and then they just start blowing out Wisconsin at the end of the game. I will say, though, the one stat that really stuck out to me is Jack Cohn has been sacked an FBS high 19 times so far this season. So, Donovan, I have to ask you, what is going on with that top-notch offensive line for Notre Dame?
You know, you have so much kind of cycling out of talent, right, with Notre Dame, and you do have coaching changes every now and then in Notre Dame. And again, your quarterback, Jack Cohn isn't, he's not anything special, right? He's not a horrible quarterback, but he's not anything special, right? He's not that good. When you have all those pieces in line, right? And again, we know what the Notre Dame offensive line is supposed to be, right? And they're just not that this year. And whether it's a scheme or a talent level, again, it's kind of a similar thing. They have the talent. It's the same guys that have been there the past 3-4 years. It's just you look kind of more in a broader perspective. And again, going up against Cincinnati defensive line, I know they only have about 4 or 5 sacks on the year. Cincinnati defensive line, I think, could be in for a big day against the Notre Dame offensive line. They gave up 6 sacks to Toledo.
No doubt. Notre Dame is only averaging 2.3 yards per carry, guys. They're only averaging 80 yards rushing per game. That is not a recipe for success when you do not have dynamic quarterback play. Jack Cohn is serviceable, not a guy that can put the team on his back and go, win a game. Desmond Ridder, he's got his own questions. We'll see what happens with him. Ultimately, I think that the team, and this is a weird thing to say when you're talking about Cincinnati versus Notre Dame, I think that the team speed, the way that Cincinnati plays faster, not just, in a foot race, but they play faster. They handle their assignments faster than Notre Dame does. I'm going to take Cincinnati to cover that 1.5 points, and I'm going to pick them to win this game. Let's say I'm going to take them to win this one 24-17 over Notre Dame.
That's exactly what I had. Like you said in the graphic there, get my Alabama transfer Jerome Ford going on that run game. Keep the ball in Ridder's hands as much as possible. But what I love about this game, 2 of my favorite guys in the draft, you have these 2 defensive studs with Sauce Gardner and Kyle Hamilton, who I've been raving on since the beginning of the season, and people are finally getting to see what he's got. Who's going to step up when their team needs it on defense? Who's going to get those turnovers? I mean, so far, Cincinnati's defense has caused 9 turnovers total, while Notre Dame has 9 interceptions alone, led by Kyle Hamilton's 3, which is absurd, by the way. And then they have 2 fumble recoveries on defense. So I want to see who helps out their offense and give them a short field, because I would much rather have the ball at the 20 with not being able to run the ball as much if you're Notre Dame. So short field is going to win the game. Who wins the turnover battle? And I say Cincinnati.
Yeah, I think Desmond Ridder is going to take a big step in this game and kind of show himself. Yes, exactly. Show himself as like, listen, I'm ready to play. Like I'm ready to play in the NFL, but I'm ready to play this season, right? Again, I don't think they're going to blow out Notre Dame. I'm going to go Cincinnati 27-20, right? But I think it's going to be pretty convincing the entire way. Not so much Indiana where you're like, oh my gosh, Cincinnati's about to blow it against Indiana. I think it's going to be pretty clear from the beginning that Cincinnati has a stronghold on the game.